Let's cross over to the conflict in Ukraine, and Russian forces are pounding Ukrainian positions with artillery fire. Ukraine's military is claiming that eastern regions alone have been hit by almost 400 strikes. Earlier, Kyiv said that about 60 Russian soldiers were killed in a long-range artillery attack in the south. That's the second time in 4 days that Ukraine has claimed to have inflicted major casualties in a single incident. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, claims to have destroyed significant amounts of Ukrainian equipment and personnel in response. The Kremlin says it is not discussing calling up more Russian soldiers to fight in Ukraine. That would be through a second round of mobilization. Russia called up over 300,000 reservists in a controversial mobilization drive which was launched back in September. As the war continues to escalate, the UN nuclear watchdog says that Ukraine narrowly escaped disaster during fighting that took place over the weekend. A barrage of shells rocked Europe's largest nuclear power plant, as some even fell near to reactors and damaged a radioactive waste storage building. The Kremlin, though, has denied involvement in those shelling incidents and says it's concerned about the situation near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Ukraine's nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, has once again come under attack, prompting the UN to warn of a potential nuclear disaster. The Zaporizhzhia plant in southern Ukraine is under Russian control. It was rocked by more than a dozen blasts on Saturday evening and Sunday, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency. The head of the UN watchdog, Rafael Grossi, said the explosions were extremely disturbing and whoever was doing it was, quote, playing with fire. Both Russia and Ukraine have blamed each other for the attacks. This is Russia's defense ministry spokesman, who accuses Kyiv of firing shells at power lines supplying the plant. The Ukrainian nuclear energy firm Energoatom accused Russia of targeting infrastructure in an attempt to further limit Ukraine's power supply. The IAEA team on the ground said there had been damage to some building systems and equipment, but none of them critical for nuclear safety and security so far. Repeated shelling of the plant has raised concern about the potential for a grave accident just 300 miles from the site of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. Elsewhere in southern Ukraine, hundreds of people in the city of Kherson flocked to buy groceries on Sunday at the first Ukrainian supermarket to open since the city was retaken by Ukrainian forces over a week ago. During the near 9 months of occupation, the Russian-installed government had brought in Russian-sourced goods and even introduced the ruble as currency. As the Russian forces now retreat, they're moving to reinforce positions in the eastern Donetsk and Luhansk, where Ukraine's president said on Sunday there had been fierce fighting and artillery fire.